if your goal is to be consistent, get consistent at things that you don't like. Like, be consistent in the gym. If your goal is to go out and be consistent every day on the doors, you better learn how to be consistent in other aspects of your life. If your goal out there is to like be really good at sprinting, like, okay, I'm only gonna be out there 2 months, but for those 2 months, I'm gonna just leave everything on the table. You better learn how to be good at sprinting in other aspects of your life.
Welcome everybody out to the DDD podcast, the Golden Door Deep Dive segment of the podcast where I, your host Roz, interview and pick the brains of all the Golden Door winners that we have for DDD Con 7 this year. And today we are truly blessed. We got Big Zach Kinzel. Is that how you say your last name?
Yep.
We got Big Zach Kinzel in the house. He's rolled up in his beautiful Corvette. He's flashing his house keys to me of the house he just closed on. So first and foremost, congratulations on your Golden Door.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the house closed.
Thank you.
Congrats on the Corvette.
Appreciate it.
And then you just got married, I believe?
Yep, just got married 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so ladies, he's no longer single.
Unfortunately.
He's taken off the market.
Yep.
A family man at heart.
Yep, beautiful. I lost my ring, unfortunately, already.
Dude, you got to get a rubber one.
I know. Lake Powell did me dirty.
Lake Powell.
Gorgeous wife, Morgan. Shout out to her.
Shout out. But anyways, dude, yeah, congratulations. How old are you?
23.
23.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Dude, and what summer was this for you?
This was my 4th summer.
Okay. So
Yeah.
4th summer, you've been doing it since you were 18?
Yeah.
Sounds
yeah,
like?
Yeah, 19.
19.
2020 was my first summer knocking. But
Okay.
yeah, it's my 4th year.
So it ain't your first rodeo.
Nope.
It's your second Golden Door, I believe.
Yep.
Okay.
First $1 million summer.
You've been around the block. $1 million summer.
Mm-hmm.
What was your rev last year?
It was 652.
Okay, so
Just
last
over.
year just barely hit it.
Mm-hmm.
This year, more than surpassed it.
Yep.
Why didn't you get the double golden, dude?
Oh,
What happened?
Shout out to all my other warriors that are still out there knocking, but I had a wedding that I had to attend, unfortunately, and it was my own, so so couldn't miss that one.
I'm sure Morgan would not have been happy with you. If,
the double Golden Door, it only means so much.
So many sacrifices are made for couples during the summers.
Yep.
So shout out again to Morgan for that sacrifice.
Yep.
And congratulations. When was the wedding day again?
It was September. I need to have this memorized, but it was the last Sunday in September.
Wow. So fresh from the honeymoon.
29th.
Fresh from the summer. Mm-hmm. High on life. Dude, it's awesome to have you on the podcast. Awesome to pick your brain. It's been fun. Him and I have been kind of like Instagram friends over the last couple of weeks as I have interviewed several of his colleagues and have gotten to know him and his squad. Down-to-earth guys, open books, willing to share their tips and tricks, willing to share their mindset. Because truly they are built different. Truly they are drinking the secret sauce that everybody is so coveting after. And it is, again, a blessing to have you here. So let's walk through your story. What got you into door-to-door?
Yeah, so it was kind of a tough situation because I was in college and I had an internship. I graduated in international marketing, and so I had an internship abroad to go in between 2020, like that summer.
Yeah. Do you speak other languages then?
Not too much anymore. At the time I was fairly fluent in German, and my mom's deaf, so I know sign language fluently.
Because international marketing is a very interesting niche.
Yeah. So I was gonna go to Germany. I was gonna work for Gatorade. It was gonna be super cool. And then COVID happened that spring, and everything shut down. We all got sent back home. I went to college in Chicago, got sent back to Boise, Idaho. Didn't know what I was going to do because the internship was also paid. And so I was using that to help, cover my next semester because I wasn't like a full ride kind of guy, unfortunately. And so Went, worked on a farm for like 2 days, and I was like, yeah, this sucks. This is so like not
The
me.
potato farm in Idaho.
Yep, it was not for me. And my sister had a boyfriend at the time, and he was doing door to door, and she was like, yeah, he's leaving in like 2 weeks or whatever to go do door to door in California. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. But then after 2 days on the farm, I'm like, hey, will you give me his number? I'm actually I wouldn't be opposed to hearing it out. Heard it out. He said you can make 15 grand in a summer. I'm like, bet, that's perfect. Like that's all I'd ever need, right? And then that's how I started in door to door. Went out my first year with Vantage Marketing, great company. Love all the guys over there. They pushed me to be like really great that year. I did like just under 400 accounts, a little under 250K in rev. So I made a little bit more than 15 grand, which was cool.
That's good.
And then that was able to pay for my last semester of college, and then I was done. And then I decided, let's just go full time into this and see where it takes me.
Gotcha.
I can always go back, and lean back on my degree if it doesn't work out.
So you finished up college pretty early then.
Yeah, I graduated in 2 years.
Oh, it's impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so you're a book smart guy, you're a street smart guy, and it sounds like you've had quite the journey so far. So walk me through each summer. So you did a little more than 400 accounts your first year.
Yeah, a little under 400 accounts.
A little under,
yeah.
And then the next year, was that when you went to Grit? Or?
No, so I actually started my own pest control company in Boise, back in Boise, Idaho, with a couple of buddies from Vantage. We went over there, started a company called Exopest. It's still around. Shout out to my guys who still own Exopest. You guys are homies. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't passionate about bugs, honestly. And so they had been doing door to door for a lot longer than I had. And I, took a chance in saying like, okay, like I could do door to door for the next 5 years, or I could just start my own company, invest in myself, make the residuals, and kind of lean back on 6 figures a year and be okay. Then I saw the results and the numbers and everything that the Grit was putting up. And I was just like, honestly, I was like, yeah, that's not real. Like, that's obviously fake.
Cap.
And so literally, and I'm like, yeah, no one does 1,700 accounts in a summer. That does not exist. And so I totally discredited it. I knocked onto a door. They said, hey, my son does door to door. You should talk to him. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to come recruit him to come work for me at my company. Well, that guy ended up being Jackson Jr. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Of course.
And so Jackson Jr., we set a meeting. He did a little bait and switch. Was like, yeah, like, I'll hear about yours if you hear about mine, whatever.
Of course.
I ended up flying out to Utah, check out the Grit office at the time, met all the guys, made tons of sense, to take a chance on myself, I guess. And like, because I did walk away from a pretty stable, pest control residual income, on the promise, I'm going to make, 3-4 times as much money, and then I don't have to do bugs. I can just work on sales and recruiting and training, which is what I'm passionate about. I'd like to be more of like a trainer and a sales rep than like a pest control guy, if that makes sense. So did that, came to the Grit, trained really hard, burned all the bridges, went out. That's my second summer, I should say. I did just under 400 accounts again for about 250K, almost the same as my rookie year. And then came to the Grit. That next year I did 650K, obviously, 585 accounts. So contract value doubled between my company, which was 615, and my contract value last year was 1280. And then this year was my second summer at the Grit, fourth summer total. And that's when I did $1 million on like 940 accounts. So about a week short of 1,000 account summer.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Maybe I'll go dabble. I don't know.
Absolute beast. A bad summer to be a bug. Where were you this last summer?
I was in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati. Tell me about that market.
That was great, dude. Tons of companies, tons of great competition. I mean, I was going up against guys who were just total studs, like Tristan Smith with Essential, Trevor Rusevich at Moxie. There's tons of great guys at all the companies out there, Hawks, GreenX, very competitive market.
Yeah.
Vantage went up against Andrew Osler. He's a great rep, and there's tons of good competition out there. So it's a way different market than anything I was used to. But the adjustments were made and ended up being successful.
There we go. What was the hardest part about the market?
Hardest part about the market? Dude, I don't know. I mean, every market has its challenges. I think this market specifically, it was very competitive. So there was like lots of, And it wasn't competitive with bad sales reps. It was competitive with really good sales reps. And so that had its own challenges because, you know, you can go behind a bad sales rep and still do really well. You can go behind a good sales rep and still do really well as well. But you have to really like make yourself different and stand out because lots of those guys do the same thing. They make themselves different as well. And
and you knock on the door, oh, I'm doing something totally different.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, the last 5 guys said that.
Exactly. It's like Andrew Oster's 1,000 account rep. Trevor Rusevich is a 800 account rep. And, you know, Tristan Smith is a golden door. And so, you know, it's no joke out there. But I think just being really good at switchovers, and that's kind of my bread and butter, I'd say. So that helped a lot.
For sure. Yeah, I'm sure all the bugs in Cincinnati are going extinct right now.
Yeah. There's no bugs. Between all those companies, there's no bugs left.
Absolutely bonkers. So kind of tell me about that. What did you do to make yourself different then?
You know, I would say the biggest thing to make myself different was like cool, calm, collected. I don't really care if you buy or not. Like somebody will. And just putting myself in front of or putting myself in the position where when someone opened the door, it wasn't like I was being a burden to them. It was more like, hey, listen, I'm here to do my job. I promise you I won't take more than like 20 seconds of your time if you let me, or if you don't let me, and then, you know, I'll be out of your hair. It's like I wouldn't say I'm like super aggressive or pushy necessarily. It's more so just like, you know, if you want to buy. If you don't, and like somebody will. Like I know I'm pretty good. I stay pretty on top of my numbers, so I know what it's going to take, how many talks it's going to take for me to be able to finally close somebody.
Yeah.
So it just takes a weight off your shoulder, not knowing, like, oh yeah, well, I know I'm not going to bagel. I know I'm, like, statistically speaking, I'm going to do more than like 6 to 8 today. Like, I don't know when I'm going to find them. I might all come from between 8 and 9 p.m., but like they will be there if you just keep your head down and keep working. Like, and like, you know, the people who give you a chance don't miss. And the people who don't give you a chance don't stress.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, legendary speech right now. So a small fire is starting up in the office. I can feel it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so talk to me about, you know, we're talking about differentiating yourself from other people. Your typical customer that you talk to, are you a fan of, like, are you like I'm a close everybody kind of guy, or if it's like, oh, if they're not biting in the first, you know, little bit, I'm out?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's to me, a lot of people think that you can like, and like I think truly a lot of people think that they're good enough to gauge customers. I don't think any of us are really good enough to gauge customers as far as like, I mean, everybody that's listening, I know, has been in a situation where like they closed somebody who was not vibey and they said yes. And you're like, wow, I cannot believe that actually worked. And like they're just signing up and they didn't give you really any objections, but they weren't like friendly the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
So those are the people a lot of people walk away from. They're like, they're not giving me anything. They're not vibey. They're not like, they're giving snark comments or whatever. Like, but if the door's open, the door's open, and like everything, you know, I feel like I'm just a waterproof jacket. Like things get thrown at me and it just like runs off, right? And so so if someone says something quick or snarky or they're just not like super interested, I'm still gonna just like understand like that it's not personal against me. It's just the personal against the situation that they're in. I would feel the same way if someone knocked on my door and maybe I wasn't necessarily interested. Like, I'm not really gonna put a ton of time and effort into this conversation. Doesn't mean I'm not ever gonna say yes. It just means that, you know, you haven't piqued my interest enough for me to really like to give you anything. Like, and I think that there's a good book, and I'm trying to remember. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, a classic.
It's like great book, and they talk about like the best way to win friends and like influence people is by first having interest in people. And so some people don't want to give you the time of day. Some people do. The people who do take advantage of it. The people who don't, like I said, don't stress it. It's like if they say no 2-3 times, I'm out of there. It's like, dude, I really don't care. Somebody will say yes. You know? I'm not gonna be like, please, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
you're too busy as it is.
Exactly. It's like there's 8 other people that are waiting to buy. I just gotta go find them.
That's wild.
So
how many people would you close a day?
I would sell like between like 8 to 10 a day, roughly.
Okay. How many doors does that equate to roughly a day?
Usually I would sell like 1 out of every like 4 people I talk to, or 1 out of every like 5 people I talk to. So and the doors vary. It's just like, you know, how many people answer versus how many people don't answer, So like some days 50 people would answer and, you'd sell 15 of them or something. And some days like, and you knock 100 doors, and some days you knock 100 doors and only 30 people answer. And like, so, or you knock 180 doors and only 20 people answer. Right.
Yeah.
But really it's just like, cause all I care about is who I talk to. So if they open the door, I count it. And one out of every 4 to 5 people that open the door were buyers.
What's your specialty? Like, what is the hardest customer that everyone else struggles with, but you can get?
Oh, dude, that's a good question. I don't know. I think my specialty is just like de-escalating the customer who has heard it 10 times. It's like if someone
like coming out hot and bothered,
yeah, they
like
come
you're
out,
the 10th guy.
Dude, yeah, you're the 10th guy here, and it's like, yeah, no, I get it, man. Like, not trying to bother you. I hear you. Like I apologize on their behalf. Like I can't. I'm just here to do my job. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
But I think switchovers are for sure my specialty. Like getting someone, I think it's way easier. I know a lot of people in the industry think it's way harder to sell someone who is using another company because they're just like, oh, like, it all comes down to the price, right? And it really doesn't. Like I would switch people that were paying $600 a year into paying $1,200 a year, and they're fully aware of the difference, but they understand it and they understand the value in it. And so they would easily, bite the worm and go for it. But I think the switchovers is probably my specialty and getting people to see value where the other sales rep who sold them didn't show them that value. So whether it's even just one, because you don't have to win in every category. You only have to win in one category. And if you win in one category, you're better. Like it's either 99 or 100. There's no like, oh, 99 could be better because no, 100 is better. It's more, it's better. And if you're already paying for it, why would you not pay for more? Like, why would you not get more? So like, in pest control specifically, everyone kind of does roughly the same thing, right? They all kind of spray around the base of the home. They all kind of sweep down spider webs. They all kind of treat the yard. They all kind of do mice, whatever. But every company you compete against, there's one thing that they don't do super well that you do super well. And you just have to win on that one thing and just get the customer to understand like, dude, what, it's pest control. Like, you don't care who kills your bugs. You really don't. It's like,
you just want them dead.
This is better. And if it's better, why wouldn't you, So I think in my opinion, I think I could convince anybody to just like try it just for the one reason,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like convincingly different or convincingly better.
Yeah. Well, to our listeners out there, I'm going to give you a 2-second break for your wrists because I know you're taking notes and the wrists, you're writing at lightning speed to absorb everything that Zach is graciously spewing upon us. So what did it take for you to get good at switchovers then? Like, I know you talked about like, there's always that one thing that's better.
Yeah.
But, the mind shift, everything. And then from the technicality standpoint too.
Yeah, I think First off, talking mindset, because like if you think you're bad at switchovers, you'll be bad at switchovers, right? And it's like you just have to realize that the customer already sees the value in the service. You don't have to build value on the idea of pest control. They have it. Like I wouldn't go up to you and like, what kind of car do you drive?
Toyota.
Okay, that's great, and you love it, and it's got great gas mileage, and I don't have to sell you on the idea that Toyotas are good. You have a Toyota and you like it. Like, so like, why would I come in and be like, oh no, dude, Toyotas suck. Like, you got to get a Ford, It's like, no, dude, Toyotas are great. I'm glad you totally see the value in Toyota. I don't know if you've looked into Fords. They have all the same features, like the same value adds, but they do have these like couple more things, which I think could be like worth your while. Like what, I don't know if you'd be interested, but like, it is more for about the same price, then you're like, oh, okay. Like, and so I think the mindset is knowing like they already see the value in the service. It's like you don't have to build value. All you have to do, and this is why I think switchovers are so easy because I'm in and out of a switchover in like 3 minutes. All you have to do is say what's different, why that benefits the customer, and that should be enough. It's like because they don't care. They don't care what, how high you spray in the home or how far you go in the yard or what the chemical composition of the products that you use. They want the bugs gone. Like when I just had internet put in on my house.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't ask them like, oh, like what kind of wire are you guys using? Or like, you know, what's the coil? Like, I don't care. I have internet. It works. Like, I really don't care. If someone came and they're like, hey, I'll give you the same internet for a better price. I'm like, okay, I'll probably do it. Like, if the value is there, it wouldn't make sense. And so just having that mindset from a consumer standpoint of like, if you would be willing to switch if something was better, why wouldn't they? Right? So coming in with that mindset. Now, technicality speaking, I kind of let in on it a little bit, but like if you guys got anything from like switchovers, let it be this. Like, the more you bash a company, the more likely you are to not close the deal, right? And so it's like, for example, if you have a Toyota, and I had before the Corvette yesterday that I bought, I had a Kia Optima, right? And I still have it. It's like, if I went at you and I'm like, oh dude, like Toyotas suck. Like, why would you ever have a Toyota?
Yeah. I would just think you're a dick.
Yeah. And immediately, like, if we're in a debate, what are you going to start to do? You're going to start to defend it.
Yeah.
Say, no, dude, Toyotas are great. I get good gas mileage. I've got all the cargo space I need. It's super safe and reliable. It's got all the features I want, right? And like, you know, I gained no ground versus, you know, if I go to another person, I'm like, oh, dude, you have an Optima. Dude, Optimas are awesome. Like, dude, I love Optimas. Like, what's been your favorite part so far? Oh, dude, I love the, you know, lane assist or whatever it may be. And then I'm like, oh, cool, dude. Like, dude, I was kind of thinking about getting one. Like, what would like the drawbacks be? All of a sudden, dude, the freaking floodgates open. And they're like, oh, dude, the thing you need to look out for is this. And like on top of that, like I kind of don't like the storage space. And like the gas mileage, like you could for sure get better gas mileage elsewhere. And so just by leading with a foot of kindness and with a foot of, oh no, like you're actually really smart to have made the decision that you made. Like, I'm not here to say that it was a bad choice. I'm just here to like present other options, right? Because your option, I think we can all agree that if a better option came our way, we wouldn't be opposed to taking it. But sometimes things can come across as like pushy. Like, you know, when you're switching phone plans, people are like, oh no, dude, like if you do it right now, like make the switch. They're pushing the agenda of doing it right now for the company's sake, not doing it right now for the customer's sake. Like, this is why it would benefit you to do this, right? And so leading with a foot of like, okay, you know, I'm going to compliment and I'm going to draw info out and I'm going to like actually understand the customer and like, why do you like what you have? And maybe why don't you like what you have? And if I can provide value that makes sense, like then I will, and then you'll probably switch. There's also a lot of times that I'm like, oh no, like actually, like if that's what you're looking for in a company, like that's probably, you should probably stick with these guys, right? And having that ability to walk away when it doesn't make sense for the customer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because so many guys just want to shove it down their throats and force it, which obviously having your ear to the ground and knowing the customer, knowing exactly what they need, and then presenting your solution to that, which most of the time you're going to provide a better solution to that problem that they are presenting.
Yeah, and even if it's something simple like, oh, hey, you know, I really like everything my company does. The only thing I don't like is like, they just don't do this. And I'm like, oh, that's it? It's the only thing you don't like? Oh, perfect, dude. Well, why don't we just do this? How about we just set you up on the exact same program that your company was doing? Everything's the same. It will be a little bit more expensive because we are actually going to do that one thing that you don't like that your company doesn't do. Let us add that in. It will be a little bit more. It'll be worth it though, because obviously it's worth it to you or else you wouldn't have ever brought it up. And like, and then let's make the switch and I'll make it easy for you. And they're like, all right, sounds good. Like, you just literally solved
Bada
the
bing,
one,
bada boom.
Like it's everything that I already liked and then the one thing that I didn't like, and perfect, we're done. And that's why switchovers can be so smooth. Like that's really, in my opinion, the key to having big days is like, it all starts, like it's really hard to find like 15 people a day that have never had pest control or like they don't have pest control and sell all 15 of those guys. It's way easier to find 15 people who have pest control that wouldn't be like, they're not married to their bug guy. If that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, there are a lot of people listening to this that are in the gutter of like, oh, like switchover is too hard. Like I can't.
Because I was there. Like,
can't be that guy.
Yeah, like when I was a rookie in my second year, if someone said that they had a company and like they had been using them for, If it was under 1 year, I'd walk away. And if it was over 3 years, I'd walk away. And so I'd be like, oh yeah, who are you guys using? Oh no, yeah, they're really good. How long have you been with them? Oh, you've been with them for 8 months? Yeah, you're still in contract. Honestly, just finish out with them. And then if you don't like it, switch. Or, oh yeah, like, no, you've been using them for 5 years. Oh, so you probably really like them. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. I get it. And it's like, and like, I just walked away from, 50% more deals just because I just didn't understand the concept of like, if it's better, why not switch? But now that I am a homeowner and a consumer of like tons of things, it's like, I'm totally okay making the switch. And as long as it's an easy and seamless process, why wouldn't I if it makes more sense?
Absolutely.
Logically speaking.
Absolutely.
Like, take the emotion out of it.
And I mean, that's something interesting too that you mentioned. Like now, like that you're a homeowner and everything. It's like, as kind of like an adult, you realize like you get bills.
Yeah.
Like I remember, my first summer knocking with Vivint. I'm like, oh, I can't sell someone an $80 a month alarm.
Yeah.
You're like, that's too much money. Like, because in my mind at the time, $80 a month was a lot of money for a subscription to something.
Now it's your cheapest bill.
And I'm like, gosh, I'm paying like $400 a month in supplements.
Utilities. Yeah.
It's like
I pay $50 a month in car washes, like, and I go like 3 times a month, maybe. So
yeah,
it's like,
people piss this money away.
Yeah, no, it's
and
ridiculous.
It's like what you said. If you offer something that's better, and yeah, maybe it's a little bit more, but if it's better, they'll buy it.
Yeah, 1,000%. It's like people don't buy a service to like be disappointed in it. So if there's even one more piece of value that you can add to alleviate the disappointment, then the money will have totally been worth it. Because why would you not pay? Like, to me, if someone came to my house and it's like $60 for this thing and it has 9 out of 10 features I want, and it's $80 for this thing and it has 10 out of 10 features, why would I, for $20, like, that's a McDonald's meal these days, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why would I throw away the one feature I really want for $20? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like a movie theater. Like the size difference between the medium popcorn and the large popcorn. It's drastically different in size, but not that much difference in price.
Yeah, it's like, dude, if I want more, I'll get more. Like, and I don't know. It's just like, the average American makes like $54,000 a year, I think is what the statistic was. At least that, I believe that. I don't know where I got this data, but I think it was around there. But dude, it's like that's a fair amount of money. Like the difference between $10 a month is really not that big a deal. I mean, think of how much average consumers spend on just like every trip to the grocery store on average is like $200 a trip to a grocery store. It's like, and half the time you walk out with 20 things you don't even need, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you like, here's a need. I've got the solution for it. This is what it costs. It's black and white. And like, dude, switchovers are not emotional. They're not. Like, it's not like, oh, like switch because you like me or switch because I'm going to do better, right? No, it's like switch because it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, then don't switch. Like, and I'm okay. And I'll tell people on the doors, listen, here's the thing. If the situation was different and your company was actually providing this for you, then I probably wouldn't even still be standing here. It probably wouldn't make sense because why would you pay more for the same, right? But the difference is blatantly here. You're paying more for more, right? Or even you're paying the same for more. So like, why wouldn't you do it? Like, and like, if you explain to the customer like that, like listen, there's nothing tying you to your company. There's nothing holding you like down to like, oh no, but I like this guy. Like, dude, how much do you really like this guy?
Yeah.
Like it's not an emotional decision to switch companies. People do it every day. It's logical. And so take the emotion out of it. Don't start bringing up all these reviews and all these like, oh no, but your neighbor Sally, they didn't like this. And like, no, it's like, okay, this is what they liked about us. Like, this is your company. This is my company. And it, like, if you've ever seen those little like spreadsheets that have the three different programs,
like kind of
they've got the little check marks. It's like, this company provides 4 check marks. This one does 6 and this one does 8. It's like, most people are going to go with the one that provides the most check marks, or whichever one fits their needs the most, right? And so if you make it fit the needs that they want, you could even charge them less than what they're paying because they don't need all the stuff that they're getting. So you just figure out what they need, charge them based on that, and then the solution is done. And then why would they ever switch to another company other than, just is cheaper?
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like the only way I've really lost like a chunk of customers was just by companies coming through and saying, oh yeah, we're going to do the same thing, but cheaper. And I don't even blame the customer, because if another company can do the exact same thing, but it's cheaper, then like, good for the customer. Like they found a good deal. If they're willing to hear it out and it makes sense to them and the other person was able to present it logically, then like, yeah, they made the logical decision that was best for them. Just like I would do for me.
Yeah, but it's the abundance mentality that's most important. It's like, yeah, if I'm losing a deal over a customer getting, the same thing for cheaper,
yeah,
I'm not sweating.
No,
it's like, because there's more deals to be had.
Oh, there's always more deals. And it's like, and the people who think retroactively and they're like, oh no, I'm losing so many deals, they're missing the deals that are right in front of them. So it's like, at the end of the day, all I can control is like this next door and this one more day and one more week and one more month. And like, all I can control is what's ahead of me. I can't go back and, call every single one of my customers and be like, hey, like, what was the number one reason you switched? Like the time that it's going to take me to do that is going to clearly take away. Like, I know what my time is worth. Like, if I'm selling 8 to 10 a day, why would I spend an hour or two trying to save a customer for $500 contract or whatever when I could go get another 3 in that same hour?
Just doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. It's like there's always more deals.
Yeah.
So, and if they found a better deal somewhere else, then they found a better deal somewhere else.
Beautiful.
So,
absolutely beautiful. So now let's kind of shift over into mindset. And this has been something, talking to Alec, talking to Zach Seeger, talking to the other boys. And this one's kind of like the biggest piece of the whole puzzle. Why do you think that is?
Oh, I would say the reason mindset is the most important piece of the puzzle is because like, you just have you're just putting a ceiling on yourself. Yeah. And you can either put a low ceiling on yourself or a high ceiling on yourself. And like, it's a pretty simple answer to like a fairly simple question. It's like, mindset is important because without it, you have like nothing, right?
Yeah.
If you're not out there to like get better and you're not out there to like work hard, then what are you doing out there? There's like a million other jobs that you could have that you could work way less hard and make way more money. Like if you're putting it into perspective of like effort to money ratio, way less effort for way more money is out there, right?
Yeah.
Overall, it's less money, but it's less money because you're putting in less effort, right? And so like there's jobs out there where you could put in like for example, if I'm working from 1 to 9 every day, I'm putting 8 hours of like really hard dedicated effort in, and for that reason I'll make 2, 3, 4 grand a day. Yeah. Right? You might not make 2, 3, 4 grand a day, but you can maybe make like $1 grand a day doing the same amount of time, but like only 50% of the effort, right? And so I think that why would you be doing this job if it wasn't to like max out the amount of effort that you put in? So
yeah, it's hard enough as it is.
Yeah, it's like and it's just a game. At the end of the day, it's like anything over like once you're making over 6 figures like pretty substantially, it's just a game. It's like the people who don't do well are the people that pull out the calculator in like July and August and they're like, oh, I've already made like 100 grand. I've already made 200 grand. Like,
yep. And they start to get trunky.
It's 5 o'clock and they've sold 5 and they're like, dude, I've already made $1 grand a day. Like, I'm probably fine. It's like the people who like consistently do way better. The people who are like, dude, I don't care. The money is just a byproduct of the effort that you put in. The game is how much effort can I put in? Like, can I, if my day was like a health bar, like go back to like Game Boy Pokemon, right? If my day was a health bar, my health bar better be like this much at the end of the day, or else it wasn't like a super successful day. Like, you got to give the most amount of effort. If I have 25 health left, it's like, dude, I would rather the guy who has 1 health left and got 3 deals than the guy who has 25 health left that got 8 deals. Because like one of them is pushing themselves to the brink and the other one is just moseying,
Jeez, that's powerful. It's powerful because again, you're not leaving anything on the table.
Yeah, and it's like, and you can be okay going home with 0 deals if you didn't leave anything on the table.
Absolutely.
Like, and I have no shame. And if I bagel, it's like my team knows, and all my guys know, and all my friends know, and my wife knows, and I know that it wasn't because of my effort. It was 100% because of Maybe I wasn't on my game, or maybe I wasn't as sharp as I should have been, or maybe I'm making excuses to myself on why it's okay that I'm not selling, but it for sure wasn't because of my effort and my intentional effort. But at the same time, I haven't bageled in like 3 years because it's really hard to not sell when you are putting forth intentional effort. I don't think I bageled since my rookie year.
Absolutely.
Because like when you're constantly putting forth like intentional effort, how could you really, Your mind has to be wandering like crazy.
Yeah.
If your mind is in the right place, you're going to sell.
And what's the secret to developing that kind of mindset?
I think it sounds dumb, and I said this the other day. We had like this grit conference, and I said this the other day, and I kind of got laughed at by my friends because it's so like simple, but it rings true. It's like, in order to do things you've never done, you have to do things you've never done. Yeah. And like, which sounds so dumb, but it's like, in order to go do a golden door, maybe you do have to run that marathon. And like, it doesn't have to be physical. Maybe you do have to do the ice bath. Maybe you do just have to like, dude, you hate reading? How about you learn to love reading? And how about you learn to rewire your brain to love things that maybe you've never loved before? And like, it all starts with like a choice and deciding. And if you just decide, Parker Anderton is such a good example of this, where when he decides he wants to do something, he might hate it, but he will tell himself that he loves it until he loves it, right? It's like, and that was a huge inspiration for me. Like my first year, I met with him, and I was like, dude, I'm going to do 75 hard because Drew Hansen challenged us to do 75 hard or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 75 hard. I'm like, but dude, I don't like working out. Like, it's actually like one of my least favorite things to do is like go to the gym. I just time in a place where like you don't see result until like 6 to 12 months down the road, right?
Yeah, it's so gradual.
It's so like tedious and monotonous, and it's like, oh, I got to do the same workout I've done for the last 6 weeks just to maybe see a 5-pound increase in result. But and I just talked to him, and he's like, dude, like, why don't you just learn to love it? And I was like, well, that's like easier said than done. He's like, no, like when you go to the gym, tell yourself that you love going to the gym. And like, cause like your brain, it's like a stage. Only one act can be on the stage at a time. And so you can't hate and love something at the same time. Like people talk about love-hate relationships. You either love it in the moment or you hate it in the moment. You can't love and hate it in the moment. So if you choose the love, then the hate stays backstage. Now the thing is, it's really easy for that to switch, where where the love can go backstage and the hate can get to the center stage, unless you're constantly affirming that love of it. So it's like when I'm on the doors, it's like, dude, I love knocking. I love knocking doors. When I like going out to doors, I'm not like the biggest fan of. And like, yeah. And I could be if I made myself.
You get the pre-door jitters?
Yeah, dude, we all get it. The hardest door is the car door, right? And so Absolutely. It's like, but then you're on the doors and you're like, I actually enjoy this. I actually love what I do. I love the money I make. I love the value I'm able to provide people. I love the leadership that comes with being successful at this job. I love the friendships I've made throughout this job. And like all of a sudden, like everything that you thought you hated about the job, like is totally backstage. You don't even remember it because you're just love. Like I love this. And it's not, I will love this or I could love this. It's, I love this. Like, it's not, oh dude, I will sell a golden door or I could sell a golden door. It's, dude, I'm selling a golden door. Currently, I have already done it in my brain. The deed was already done. It's just time to go out and like collect. But your mind can, like I said, really quickly go from, oh, I am selling one to like, oh, I could sell one. You got to find a way to get the I am back to the center stage.
Absolutely. And, that's one of the biggest parts of the whole thing is, that visualization, that realization, and that self-belief.
Yeah, and affirmations is one thing. Like, belief is another. Like, you can affirm something that you don't believe in, but to actually believe something, like, to your core and say, oh, no, dude, I know myself, and I know that I can learn to love things. Like, because I went and did 75 hard, I learned to love how I looked, and I learned to love the effort it took. And, like, because I went out and ran a marathon, I learned to love running or whatever it may be for you. Yeah. Like, because I did ice baths when I didn't want to, I learned to love them because of the benefits and everything that it's provided me in my life. And it's not an easy process at first you have to convince yourself through faith, and then you convince yourself through results.
I'm going to write that down. We've got to write that down, everyone. So absolutely powerful principles. What would you say to the rep that is trying to develop that mindset? You know, maybe they're hopping in the ice bath every now and then, but they just it just hasn't clicked for them. Where that you know, that kind of that David Goggins drive just hasn't quite hit them yet. What would you tell them?
Well, dude, it doesn't have to be. Your version of hard is different than everyone else's version of hard. If someone tells you because you don't get in an ice bath every day, you're weak, it's not true. It's like, because someone tells you that you don't consistently work out, you only occasionally work out, like you're weak, it's just not true. Everyone has different goals. Like, if your goal is to be consistent, get consistent at things that you don't like, right? Like, be consistent in the gym. If your goal is to go out and be consistent every day on the doors, you better learn how to be consistent in other aspects of your life. If your goal out there is to like be really good at sprinting, like, okay, I'm only going to be out there 2 months, but for those 2 months, I'm going to just leave everything on the table. You better learn how to be good at sprinting in other aspects of your life. Like, you know, sprinting in your relationship probably isn't the best thing to do, but maybe sprinting in like, okay, how quickly can I lose 10 pounds or something, right? Yeah. It's like, find things in life that correlate to each other and stack those wins. Like, because if you can be consistent in this, then you could be consistent in this as well. Yeah. If you could be really intentional in this, you could be really intentional as this. Like, it's very tedious to like knock doors. It's also very tedious to like sit and like read a book. If I'm really good at reading, I could be really good at like the monotony of knocking doors. So, and like Vest said it well, Vest from Aptive, he says, you know, it's the monotony. Like, get really good at the monotony, because the monotony in one thing will translate to the success in something else. And you know, at the same time, like, live a strategically unbalanced life where it's okay that for a year or two you totally take off of like maybe old friendships and relationships, and you just sprint. And like, a lot of guys in our industry do that. Like, they totally burn the boats for a couple of years and they sprint. And then they come back, and then, dude, I promise you, like, the relationships that you really truly believe in, they'll still be there, right? And it'll still be there. And because if you sprint the first half of your life, then you can relax the second half of your life. It's not a 1 year balance. It's not a 10-year balance. It's a lifetime of balance. So like, me and my wife know from now until like I'm 28, 29, 30, I'm going to be sprinting. I'm not going to have a lot of time. I'm not going to be as into the relationship as I will be between 30 and 50. Because like the foundation starts with the sprint, and then the benefit comes down the road, kind of like the gym, right? And so that's strategically unbalanced. And in order, like you said, if I'm talking to the guy who just needs to get in that mindset, you have to be okay with like figuring out what your goals are and being strategically unbalanced towards those goals.
Absolutely. And there's just so many powerful principles in there that I kind of want to unpack. I mean, first off, it's, you know, everyone starts somewhere. And everyone, like, I think we underestimate the power of counting the little wins.
Yep.
You know,
stacking dubs, as Zach Seeger would say.
Absolutely. It's like, you know, did we wake up early today? Did we spend a little time in a book? You know, just the little things, because consistency is the true, like, secret to momentum. And momentum is the secret to confidence, and confidence is the secret to sales.
Yep.
So what would you say are some of the most important dubs you could be stacking then?
Yeah, dude, that's a great question. I think it's all totally based on like what your goal is. Like for me in the pest control industry, it's like I want to sell a lot of accounts. I want to provide a ton of value. Like, so what the dubs I need to stack is in the off season, like how much value can I provide my guys? How much value can I provide people who I've never even met yet, right? How much value can I provide like my wife and our cute dog, right? Or versus, you know, maybe in a different industry, someone's goal is to just to get out and like just make their first 6 figures, right? It's like, if your goal is to go out and make your first 6 figures, go do firsts. Go run your first marathon. Go do your first ice bath. Go lose your first 10 pounds. Like, get really good at doing things for the first time. And so whatever your goal is, you got to just kind of stack the little wins that attribute to that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's like if I've never been a 5 a.m. guy, but like I've also never been a golden door, like maybe, and it won't directly correlate, but it sure will help. Like maybe if I can get good at doing something I've never done before, like waking up at 5 a.m., then that will build the momentum you're talking about to becoming really good at something I've never done before, which is a golden door, right? And I think when I made the switch to the grid is when I realized that it's like things were going to be different, not because of just the culture and like training and whatever, but because I was doing things I had never done before. So like if I could do this, which I've never done before, I could also do this, which I've never done before. Because like people will say going to the gym for the first time is way easier than getting a golden door. But at the same time, it's like it's your first time for both. So it's really the same, like if that makes sense.
100%.
And some people will say no. Some people will say no. Your first ice bath is way easier than like getting a golden door, which in certain aspects it is. That's why you have to have your own set of goals, right? And stack your own dubs.
Yeah, because it's individual for each person. It's like, my dubs are different than your dubs.
Yep.
What's going to get me fired up might not get you fired up.
Exactly.
I'm a rock guy. You're probably a rap guy.
Yep. I would say.
That's how it rolls. So it's just, stacking, finding what's getting you excited and then stacking those wins.
What's up, everybody? Door to Door Con 7's coming up January 25th through the 27th in Salt Lake City, Utah. If you have not got your ticket, you're going to miss out on the industry's leading event with vendors over 100, with over 40 speakers on recruiting, sales, finance, growing your business, scaling. And we've had over 3,000 attendees there last year, and this year is going to be bigger and better with Lance Armstrong, Sean White, Kent Clothier, myself, and so many really cool people to network with the best. We have more Golden Door winners this year. We have more coming at you, and I don't think you're going to want to miss it.
So now shifting over a little bit into DDD Con.
Okay.
January 25th through the 27th, Salt Lake City.
Stoked.
This is your second DDD Con you've attended?
Yep.
So give the audience a little bit of a taste. What are they to expect?
Oh man, the first Door to Door Con that I went to was last year, and I wish I would have gone earlier, right, in more years, because first off, it's just unity. I'd start with that. It's people coming from all different companies, from all different industries, from all different parts of the U.S. together to support something that we all do that's really hard. It's like if the Boston Marathon, people come from all over because they love running and they're passionate about it. And like there's a certain emotional security that comes with that, where you feel like you're in a safe place because you're around people who have sacrificed as much as you've sacrificed to be there. That's like Door to Door Con. Regardless of if you've done a Golden Door before, you're there to invest in yourself, and everyone else is there to invest in themselves as well. And so it cultivates, a culture of growth, which is going to open your mind to opportunities and possibilities that you never thought. Like Tristan Smith, for example, he talks about how he went to a very first Door to Door Con, and then all of a sudden, like he realized that all these people like have a common goal to be great, and now and if they can do it, then he can do it, and then he goes out and he does it, right? He would have never thought that was possible without first attending Door to Door Con and seeing all the other people who believed it was possible as well. Although maybe they didn't do it and he did. That comes with different things, but at least like Draymond Green says, like, until you believe you're great, you'll never become great, right? And so like I will constantly believe that I'm the best to give myself a shot at becoming the best, because if there's ever a time I don't believe I'm the best, then obviously I'll never become the best. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's just absolutely incredible to see, you're surrounded with the solar Golden Door winners. You're surrounded with the roofing Golden Door winners, grit Golden Door winners, alarm guys. It's like we all have this common purpose.
Yep.
Which is amazing. We take off the hat. It's not, we're not from Grit. We're not from Vivint. We're not from Aptive. It's like
I'm Zach, and I achieved my goal.
And I knock doors.
I worked my ass off, and this is the result of it.
Absolutely.
And it's a pretty empowering experience because it strips away all level of like, oh, because I work for this company is why I'm good, or because of this or this or this or whatever. And it just comes down to a common purpose of like, no, I I didn't get a golden door because of the grit. I got a golden door because I got a golden door. It's like the company was a step in that process, and it for sure helped. Like, don't get me wrong, the grit was amazing, but it's not a recruiting event. It's nothing like that. There's no like, oh, because you don't work with me is why you're not successful. It all just comes down to the personal like development side where only you can develop the opportunity to be great.
Absolutely. And we're super excited. We're excited to have you on stage once again, getting your Golden Door Award. Hopefully next year we got 2 of those Golden Door Awards waiting for you.
I was going to say last year I was carrying this thing up onto the stage, so it's cool to finally see it again.
Yeah, have it in action and stuff. But absolutely. Well, Zach, this has been absolutely fire. We could do this all day. Spewing the flames, but
I love to hear myself talk. I'm just kidding.
Before we let you go, do you have any parting words for the industry as a whole?
Yeah, man. I would say, sorry, I'm taking a second to really gather my thoughts because it's only one thought, right?
It's a big question.
It's a big question. I think the biggest piece of advice I could leave is, and I wish I would have known this sooner, is like, competition is healthy and obviously super necessary in an industry like ours, but comparison is the killer of confidence. And everyone's running their own race. And I say this every single day. I have a recording of myself on my phone where it says like, you run your own race. Like no one else's results determine your results, right? And that's the cool thing about door to door, as well as the caveat is the hard thing about door to door is you can't sit back and let other people succeed for you. You have to go do it. But like, it'd be really easy for me to be like, oh dude, I work with Zach Seeger. He's obviously like, he did 1.5 million. I only did 1 million. Like, I'm not good. Dude, I am good. I am special. I am worthy. I am worthwhile. I am amazing. Right. And the only way that I even got to 1 million was by not comparing myself to those people. Competing with those people, sure. But comparing myself to those people would be a false preface it makes no sense because they're not me. And at the end, in 40 years, when none of us are doing door to door anymore, or maybe all of us are still doing door to door, I don't know. We're not going to be comparing like our lives because we all had different goals. We all had different paths to get there. We all just so happen to congregate in the same place at the same time. It's like high school. Like, why would you compare yourself to someone you went to high school with when their goals are so drastically different than your goals, just because you had one thing in common, which was the name of a high school, right?
Yeah.
So don't compare, compete.
Absolutely. And what a great way to end the podcast, because obviously, people will be, comparing themselves to all the previous Golden Door winners.
And listening to this and probably comparing yourself to the people who are on the show. Like, dude, don't compare yourself with the people who are on this show. Compete with the people who are on this show.
And you're worthy of that too.
Oh, absolutely. And anybody can be in this chair. Literally any person.
Absolutely. And what a great way to end the podcast. Like I said, Zach, it's been absolutely amazing having you on here. We're so excited for DDDCon in January to have you up on that stage, dropping your fire like you always have. So everyone, this has been a episode of the DDD podcast, the Golden Door Deep Dive segment, and we'll tune in next time. All right.